Everybody, welcome back to the PC Perspective Podcast. It's the last show of 2021. It's episode 657. I'm Sebastian Peak.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
I'm Brett Van Sproonberg.
And it's December 22 as we record this live on the internet. And you can find out when we record things like this or do stuff by signing up at pcper.com/subscribe, and you'll be notified before we go live, like the email that I got about an hour ago saying that we were having a podcast tonight. And you can support us on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/pcper. I've been providing the patrons with special posts that only patrons can see.
Don't undersell it. They're delicious extras.
I uploaded an unboxing video today just for patrons. I might eventually release it to YouTube, but this is the kind of stuff where, you just never know what you're going to see.
But this week in Patreon, sorry. This week in Patreon.
Cookie joined.
Yes.
I sent Cookie a message thanking them and making sure they understood what they were doing. Like, you do realize what you're supporting, right? Just in case it was a mistake.
Yeah, if Josh isn't muted this time, he can actually make his comment.
No.
Yep.
No.
Okay. No.
Mute?
No.
Yeah.
We accept all cookies?
No, you're not muted, Josh.
Accept all cookies.
Yeah. Make sure to...
Nice one, Jeremy.
We did. I hit accept.
No, he did that last time. He was just... His microphone failed him.
Oh.
And then thanks for the bump, White Zero and Sir Bogative. There's no burger from Josh, right? Because of the...
No, I was off today, and I totally spaced that I could have had a burger, and it was Wednesday, just because I got back from Texas yesterday. I have today and tomorrow off, and Friday, because, Christmas is on Saturday, so they give us an extra day off, and they did it on Friday. So, yeah, I got confused about what day it was, and so I just got Jimmy John's.
Oh, what'd you have?
Oh, okay.
JJ BLT with extra mayo, extra bacon, and peppers. Extra spicy peppers.
Wow.
The yellow ones?
Extra mayo?
No, the red, yellow, and other ones. But
right. Like bell peppers.
Quite tasty, that combination.
I'm amazed at what mayo is to Americans.
Oh, it's great.
Throat lubricant. It's literally throat lubricant.
Hey,
over
you're
there?
the people who originally put it on hamburgers, so shut it.
Well, true. Yeah. It was the Dutch that did it on the fries, though, so don't blame us for that.
Yeah, well.
All right, let's move into the news immediately. There was something interesting reported by videocards.com. Alder Lake S. Now, that's not interesting in and of itself because it's already out, but the non-K parts are coming, and the 65-watt parts, all the Alder Lake S stuff, apparently has been leaked by Best Buy. I don't think they did this intentionally. And if we go down, you can see the screenshot here. Not everything is populated. Of course, all of these are sold out. I'll just scroll down to the video cards chart or the table here. You can see, of course, we know about the 12900K. Best Buy has it listed at $619.99. But other parts such as the, Core i5 12600, $239.99. What's in the budget segment? The i3 12100 will be $139.99 apparently, and the 12100F will be only $109.99. And you have a couple of Pentiums here. These are 2-core 4-thread parts at $59 and $79. So, none of this is especially interesting because we have the full product roadmap eventually every generation. But these are pretty affordable prices, obviously, and some of these have graphics, which is a plus.
No efficiency cores.
Prices are good.
Yeah, that's interesting. Good point, Josh. I'm looking down this list. You're right. It shows 6 performance, 0 efficiency. 4 performance, 0 efficiency. So,
Windows 10 approves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anything with anti-cheat software approves.
Right, there you go.
Denuvo. It's the sort of conventional.
Boy, they opened a can of worms, but it wasn't exactly a can that had been unopened before.
Yeah. It's just a bigger can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what are you going to pair your inexpensive 12th gen processor with? Because obviously 12th gen supports DDR5 and DDR4. So you're going to buy a $129 processor and then spend $700 on some RAM for it. And you're
Maybe
Just go on the Newegg Shuffle and get your RAM and a motherboard together for that $130 processor.
go to the FPS review, not just FPS review, the FPS review. If you want to read a story about DDR5 versus DDR4 again, and it's kind of self-explanatory. Is it worth the price?
Yep.
And of course, the answer is no.
Not really, no.
This line is all you need to know. The performance delta between DDR4 3600 and DDR5 5200 is marginal at best, while the price is anything but. Not that you can't find some synthetic benchmark that'll say otherwise, but still, in real world performance, especially in gaming, you're not going to see much of a difference.
No, but one of the nice things the FPS review did was throw on a couple of the interesting things about DDR5 on their front page.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's not just about the frequency. There's some new stuff that you used to pay extra for special RAM, and now you just pay extra for normal RAM, but it has the extra stuff in it.
Right.
Which is nice, I guess.
Yeah, like the kind of special stuff that's in such short supply you can't buy it at all.
That's everything right now.
There was another link on there that talked about, like, I think the DDR4 sweet spot. Was it 4600 or something? Really good timings on that one. That was the do you even need previous that one.
That link was actually first. I skipped over it. Do you even need DDR5? This is over at Tech Power Up, and we kind of talked about this a couple weeks
last
ago.
week.
Some super fast DDR4 that's out there.
Yeah, with ridiculously tight timings, and guess what? About the same.
Yeah, this is that Neo Forza brand again. This is 4600 DDR4 with 19, 26, 26, 46 timings.
Yeah, I think it was on sale for about $225 or something.
Okay.
Which is like, period, is a good deal. Like, freaking underclock the hell out of it and tighten the timings up if you're an AMD.
Voltage is high. You need a motherboard that's going to support 1.5 volts 24/7 on your DDR4.
Boy, that's not going to last very long.
It's DDR4 4600. It's not going to last.
As Jeremy was saying, you could underclock it. You might be able to undervolt it as well and tighten the timings, but we don't know.
Look, at DDR5 prices, just buy like 5 or 6 kits of this, and if it dies, just throw another one in.
The point is, as Al just says in the chat here, DDR4 is cheap, and it's the right time to buy if you can get the board and everything that you want together. DDR4
it's mature and cheap.
Yes.
Yeah, 209 on Newegg.
Wow.
Good price.
CAS 19.
Yeah.
I'm impressed they're getting that out of Hynix. Usually high frequency, very low latency is what you'd expect from like Samsung B-Die, but they're throwing a lot of.
Well, I mean, if they buy enough of those, chips, they can obviously bin them, and then applying 1.5 volts to DDR4 is a lot of fun.
Let's move on to something you can actually use that memory for, and it would be okay. We talked about Final Fantasy VII Remake last week, or I did. Not only is it a year and a half old at this point, or going on 2 years. But it's, of course, exclusive to the Epic Game Store. And they're taking advantage of it because they're charging $70 for the base game. And it's a pretty bare-bones port. I've seen nothing but complaining about this since the game launched last week. Here's the article at PC Gamer, which is, after a year and a half wait, PC players get no graphics options and widely reported stuttering in an overpriced package. Now, technically, you have some graphics options. Here's a screenshot of the graphics settings page. You can change frame rate target from 30, 60, 90, and 120, but you cannot alter the fact that it uses display scaling. So even if you choose your screen resolution, it will still down-res as needed. Even if you have a powerful graphics card, it would be nice to be able to lock it at a resolution, lock it at a frame rate. VSync obviously cannot be turned off. It only runs in like a borderless mode. There's no exclusive full screen mode, and there's no way to adjust things like anti-aliasing or anything else. There are as many or more HDR options as graphics options, and the only texture and shadow options are low and high. So It's a bare bones port. And on top of that, there's stuttering issues. And I think it's because of the way that it's trying to manage frame rate between display resolution scaling and hitting those frame targets. So it sucks. I mean, the game is still good. I only played it long enough to load it up and get to the settings screen to see what was going on. And then there's a bunch of like mods already in the works or out there. So I pulled up this one article from WCCF Tech. There's a new 8K video with the game running with Beyond All Limits ray tracing, dynamic resolution disabled, and more. So there are already ways to turn off things and enable things and make the game look a lot better. I hope they update it and the official game actually offers some more settings, because that was... Not everybody has a PS4 or a PS5, so at least you can play the game this way, although it is too expensive. You'd think that a game like this would be 40 or 50 at the absolute most. If you're charging 70...
But you still bought it, right?
Well, I mean...
You had to.
Yeah.
You could just see it in his face.
Yeah.
It's overpriced, but there's no other way to get it, and I wanted to test it. And then I'm like, well, wow, it really doesn't have anything. Like, you can't really benchmark it if you can't turn off VSync. You can't benchmark it if you don't know what kind of display scaling it's doing. Like, it's just... And there's no built-in benchmark or anything, so I would just be mindlessly...
So was the
running through
original
same part.
PC version of Final Fantasy VII, was that the one that's like 98, 99?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I remember people making a big deal about that, and I didn't care.
Yeah. Early 3D, it could run on Voodoo and like early like ATI Rage, I think, was supported. Maybe NVIDIA 256. I don't know exactly what the system requirements were, but it ran in 3D accelerated mode or software rendered mode, and it had its own problems, but yeah. And it's also quite difficult to get to run on modern computers.
Yeah,
unless you have the Steam version. Okay.
And besides, who kept those 18 DVDs or whatever it was back then?
Yeah, I don't know how many CDs it is.
It was ridiculous.
6?
It was like 6.
Yeah.
Was it only 6? I remember it being more.
It's like Baldur's Gate was 6. 5 or 6.
Unreal Tournament 2K4 was about 6. Or was that... No, that was Unreal Tournament 2000, wasn't it?
I don't know, maybe.
It came in the pull-out sleeve.
I'd have to take a look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does Josh have it within arm's reach? That's always the ploy.
I do, but it's buried behind some other stuff. So
you might have to dangerously clean something, so you don't want to go.
I don't want to do that. Have you seen my room? I can't clean this. I'll never find anything again.
Microsoft. They're playing games again. Control
Good
panel
or bad?
Shuffle.
Oh.
Continues on Windows 11. This is interesting. You'd think once you know a Windows version that you could be tech support for your friends and family. Just off the top of your head, you could tell them, okay, click on this, then click on that. It'll be the third option down. Now, things within the control panel are moving. Isn't that nice? Within the same version of Windows, of course.
It was like when Windows 10 came out, that there were 2 ways to get to everything. And some of the old ways would kind of work, and then they wouldn't, and then you had to try to do the new. But if you dug deeper down in the new way of getting stuff, you got back to the old.
Yes.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
So apparently they're upset that we were able to do that. And so now they're permanently moving certain things into the new apps and settings section. And the control panel one is probably going away. I suspect that if you're familiar with add and remove programs, you'll still be able to add in a Windows feature to bring some of them back. At least I hope so. Because some of the crap is like network and sharing. Whereas like, yeah, I can't see any of my other computers. Okay, well, you need to go to network discovery. Where's that? Well, right click on the icon that looks like a computer being plugged into something or your Wi-Fi and hit open settings and then click on advanced setting. Oh no, it's not there anymore. None of what I'm describing exists anymore on the new version. You have to go into the settings app, and then there's another network settings, and then from there it's like I can't find my other computer, and then you click on that and it'll take you where you want to go. Because this is a step forward.
Speaking of steps forward, or rather a step back, I'll just do this quickly because somebody in the chat was asking about this. We didn't talk about the RTX 2050 yet. Yes, 2050. Not 3050. 2050. In notebooks. So, yeah. This is a report about NVIDIA may announce new GPUs at CES, some of which we already know. But, according to a press release from NVIDIA itself, quoting the article here, the company plans to take the wraps off of several affordable mobile options, including RTX 2050.
Now, is this a new chip, or is it just that they found a bunch of GA107s lying around and they're like, you screw it, just throw them in something? Because in theory, it might be ridiculously overclockable. if it's a really good GA107.
Now, I don't...
memory... It looks like the write-up here says the memory's the issue. 4 gig of 14 gigabit per second GDR.
Oh,
on a 64-bit
bus. Yeah.
I think my phone does better than that.
Oh.
You could be right about that. Yeah,
64-bit, man.
Jeez.
That has to be a typo.
No, it's just that we're that desperate.
It's strangled.
Jensen's realized we're that desperate for a GPU.
Well, they don't want
mine's for crap. It'll be in stock.
They don't want you to get more out of it.
I mean, it's a non-represented SKU in terms of prices. So, it's going to be slightly better than integrated graphics from AMD and Intel, and yeah, that's and more readily available. It's I don't know.
It's the new...
yes, Razer 4 gig, but it'll also have another 8 gig shared on the laptop.
It's not like you're going to run out of memory. It's just going to get really, really slow. If you're running
what would be the difference, practically?
More than like 1080 medium. So,
depends on what...
And that's Excel 1080p medium.
Yeah.
That's probably the laptop it's being targeted at.
People play Excel competitively, Jeremy.
Competitive Excel.
It's an e-sport now. It was in my news feed a few weeks ago. Let's pause here to hear from our podcast sponsor this week.
Supercharge your team with the power of TextExpander. Your team can do more with the same resources. Less repetition, fewer errors, and greater communication consistency will have your team feeling like they've hopped off a bicycle and into a Ferrari. And Ferraris are pretty good. Keep your team consistent, accurate, and current. Especially consider those members working your customer service and how their performance affects your brand. Work faster and smarter using TextExpander's powerful shortcuts and abbreviations to streamline and speed up everything you type. Share your text and images with the whole staff to keep them on track, making sure everyone can share the same message and give the same answers to all customer questions. Create powerful snippets to save you time so that all you do is type a short abbreviation and TextExpander does the rest of the typing for you. Share the snippets of messaging, signatures, images, and descriptions with everyone that works on projects with you. Keep your whole team communicating efficiently with consistent language. TextExpander is available on Mac, Windows, Chrome, iPhone, and iPad. Show listeners can get 20% off your first year. So visit textexpander.com/podcast to learn more about TextExpander. That's textexpander.com/podcast.
All right, Jeremy, are you going to tell us about another depressing security vulnerability now?
Frickin' hell. Here, I'll just ruin it by the good news is that so far we don't have any evidence of this being exploited. So the bad news is that this is literally calling on the ability, the necessity of a Wi-Fi chip and a Bluetooth chip existing on the same SoC to be able to directly control each other without talking to your OS. So that they're not making sure that they're not interfering with each other as they're both active and both more or less transmitting on the same spectrum. So they've got a direct hardware interface. Well, as it turns out, back in 2019, it was pointed out to a variety of vendors, including Broadcom, that there's actually a way that if you can get a hold of either a bit of the Bluetooth or a bit of the Wi-Fi, you can then use them to pass back and forth system commands that your operating system in any program you're running is completely and totally unaware of, to sniff out, say if you've got the Bluetooth to, if you got in through Wi-Fi because, you were in a public place and you connected, and next thing you know, oh, look, there was this vulnerability on that particular Broadcom Wi-Fi that, we've just injected into it. So now that Bluetooth keyboard you've got, it's just keylogging everything you did. Or conversely, you don't clean up your Bluetooth pairings all the time. And so you got a few of them left, and someone's out there going, I know a way to get at these, and I'm just going to impersonate this type of device. And you've got an old pairing of a device that was very similar. So now they've got the Bluetooth, and they can go and inquire into the Wi-Fi as to every time it tries to reconnect to something. Oh, what's that password that you're sending that SSID? And because it's literally baked onto the chip and a necessity for them to be able to function together, I don't see this being fixed. And since it's still effective on Broadcom chips today, I don't think that a lot of other people do. And you add an LTE and 5G in there, and for about $50, you can impersonate a cell tower very easily and immediately get leverage into that chunk of the SoC. So
sounds exciting.
It's lovely, because this is 2021, everyone. Don't hope next year is going to be better.
Josh, you have a friend.
It's not going to be better. And yes, that was Willow checking out if there was a cat here. And there was, luckily, not a cat. Otherwise, it would have been fur flying and a lot of excitement on my end.
Rainey's still hiding in the basement?
Yeah.
I see a cat.
I mean, she
bed
comes
next
up
to
every
you.
once in a while, but only when she knows the coast is clear.
No, she ain't dumb.
Yeah, she ain't dumb.
Hey, speaking of dumb,
Oh yeah, speaking of dumb,
I don't want this.
Dum,
What?
dum, 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 dum,
wait, it's not
dum,
it's not the SSD, the audiophile SSD,
It is.
is it?
Yeah.
It
It
is.
is, man.
Yes.
It is.
Over at
Just wait until I
audiophile,
protest.
over at
every
audiophile
minute.
style, which is some kind of online magazine or something that's covered in ads. We have a post from Dark Force, almost a year in the making, the world's only NVMe M.2 SSD. It's not M.2, they forgot the dot. Designed for audiophiles and music lovers. They designed it from the ground up. Yay. They have, listen to this. You've never heard of this before. Can you imagine? They've used 3D NAND with pseudo SLC cache.
Ooh.
Amazing. Now,
Wow.
to their credit, they are using 200% more PCB copper isolation, mil-spec PCB stiffness,
Ooh.
other things.
Wow.
They've added stuff to the board. Look at this. They've put
Glued
extra-
on, or I
Yeah.
mean, definitely attached.
It looks like a regular SSD, and then they've added a couple of capacitors and an
Yeah, those-
external power input that's just one of those
look at
barrel
that.
connectors.
Yeah. I see it.
On an M.2 SSD, no less.
Excuse me a moment. There's a knock on
Which
my
is
door.
going
I'll
to
be
pull
right back.
10 watts max. Yeah.
And I mean, adding external power will definitely not add any sort of interference whatsoever to this thing.
I'm a little worried because you've got all that extra grounding surface, but there's a DC in 5 volt right up on top.
Yeah, I was going to say, 5 volt, is that? I thought most everything on the motherboard was 12 volt. I can't
They
remember
don't
what
know
the
that.
signaling-
Don't confuse them, Josh.
Yeah.
There is a 5-volt line that goes to, drives, SSDs and such, but not. There might be a 5 volts on that pin set.
What's
But only
funny,
when they're supposed to.
what's funny is this is not anything new. I don't know if it was Jeremy or
Yeah,
It's
that
like the
would have been
$300 Denon.
And Josh, I
3-foot
really
Ethernet
appreciate your
cable.
quote.
Sorry, Josh. Go
Oh,
ahead.
that was also
Yeah.
beautiful. But Josh,
Yeah.
your quote is actually the title of my article from back in the heady days of 2015. So if you think this is bad, no. May I quote? Anecdotal murmurings and some limited first-hand experience suggest that digital music files can sound different when played from different computer media sources. Take the simple playback of a stereo audio file, or such music played by a computer's internal hard disk drive, a network-attached storage, or the local home network. So if you click through all the way past the register to this, what they have done in this wonderful review that has never yet been equaled is compare the audio quality difference of the QNAP TS439 Pro and the QNAP TS419P Plus, but not just two different NASs. They installed different hard drives and even an SSD. I'm not shitting. This article just goes on and on. It is a work of utter brilliance. The Kingston SSD stood apart from the disk drives for its mostly good yet quite alien character. Drive 4 made itself known for entirely the wrong reasons. This Corsair drive and other SSD conspicuously highlighted vocal sibilance and had a hard, relentless quality that was impossible to miss. Strangely, it also robbed the music of a pace. It was the least engaging on an emotional level, thanks to an enveloping tunelessness that appeared to carve up a song like an MP3 rip. You really need to read this thing. It is utterly the peak audiophile, except for some other things such as the monster cable. It to this day is still just beautiful.
Now, if a hard drive in terms of power was a bad citizen of your computer case, and you actually get, some peaks and dips and noise and going through there that is not adequately filtered out on your equipment, then sure, in theory, that could make a difference. But that's just electrical interference and not how good my data sounds.
How good my data sounds.
But no, that would be perfectly cromulent in this particular discussion.
Yeah. Well, guys, it is 8:40, and I have to be somewhere in 5 minutes, so I apologize. Thanks for sticking with me. I didn't know. I thought today was off.
No problem, Josh. Thanks for joining us.
Have fun handling
I hope
cable.
I added at least something other than shininess.
Absolutely, Josh. We'll see you in 22.
All right. You guys have
Bye.
a good New Year.
Merry
Sorry
Christmas.
I can't share any
Merry New Year.
of
Happy
my favorite
Christmas.
Merry
things
Christmas.
this year. Good night,
See ya.
guys.
Good night.
Good night.
And Josh leaves us with this.
That's beautiful.
His last pose of the year.
Follow him on Twitter for more. I'm sure he'll be tweeting throughout the holidays. But we have to carry on.
We will.
That whole storage thing, though, it's. I'm just kind of. I have nothing to say except that people actually pay for better network cables specifically for audio. So if they're willing to do that, then of course the storage actually makes more sense than that.
Hey, there was a...
The only thing that makes sense are gold-plated connectors because at least they don't rust, they don't wear out.
Yeah, they don't corrode as fast.
That
corrode as
almost
fast.
makes sense.
Yeah. I've
There
had silver
was
ones
a-
that corroded a lot. So, sorry.
Oh,
Brett.
No, good. Discord, we had a question, actually, that was to us to talk about an audio-themed podcast about what we're doing with our PCs and how we might have set up our audio for like non-headphone game playing or music playback and stuff like that. So there was a question as to whether or not we'd ever do a themed podcast on doing audio with PCs, like desktop speakers or like external DACs and stuff like that.
Yeah, we should do something
interesting.
like that at some point. Just a little
That would be fun.
informative video. One of the things I found interesting about that question, one of the sort of suggestions was about, front panel versus rear panel audio. I remember reading that. And I thought immediately, there have been motherboards recently that have actually separate DACs for front panel versus rear panel.
Oh, really?
I
Which
don't
boards are
hate
doing
that.
No.
Which boards are doing that?
Oh, quite a few. I've reviewed one at least, I think, that had that, where the back is just the built-in like Realtek whatever, and then the front gets its own ESS Saber DAC, and the idea is that you're plugging your headphones into the front,
That makes sense.
So you get better op amps, like better headphone support through the front. So
Yeah.
and then it comes down to shielding. Like if you're having issues with front panel audio, well, usually it depends on the case. If your case is using just really crappy
That's right.
cables that are wrapped up with your power cables and other stuff, maybe there's some kind of interference happening there. So
Sometimes you can get crosstalk on that. Yes,
because that's analog at that point.
it is.
So
And I mean, the case manufacturers definitely put all of the money into developing that front panel audio connector and making sure that it's going to make it to the ass end in your codec perfectly. Did you ever own one of the ones with a vacuum tube in it?
no, the motherboard.
Do you remember
tube built
there was
in?
there was a brief
Really?
moment. Yeah, but you don't see that. There it is.
Yeah, that was the one. That was I just
Gorgeous
threw that one
thing.
in there.
What could possibly go wrong?
Oh, nothing. No.
Yeah, it's not like valves don't get hot enough as it is.
No.
Just put them next
And-
to your graphics card.
And how many of these tubes nowadays that you can actually still get are all Russian, very high quality Russian tubes.
Oh, they're still Russian. They've always
Yes.
been
Don't
Russian.
Insult the
Good
tube
tube, you
rolling
like.
community, Brett. There are people who are very into tube rolling.
Yeah, there are. Okay.
There's a lot of combinations, and I'm a valve.
It's the same people who
fan.
build a keyboard out of like the tiniest little components.
Yeah, but-
Awesome. His latest project is like even more terrifying than normal.
What's he up to
bet.
now?
Oh, it's the most complex build of a keyboard he's done. It's just ridiculous. I don't actually read the whole thing. I just sort of see it and I look at a couple of pictures just to make sure that he's still going even more eccentric. than he
Reading
is.
the non-complex ones leaves me dizzy. Yeah. So I can't imagine.
Here's something that is not complex. I don't know how I saw this. Somebody retweeted it or something. Earlier I saw from Yule Beast Designs on Twitter, at Yule_Beast. Yule's spelled Yuel. The
massive
monolith.
radius bends.
It's just
Oh,
two
okay, yeah, there they
two
are.
pieces of metal that have been bent and they're sitting kind of side by side in opposite directions. It's the most simplistic case
Yeah, woo.
design I've ever seen. But obviously, if you throw a bunch of EK water blocks and really nice cable management, it looks fantastic. But
Yeah, that kind of does.
it's just beautiful. I would love this on the desktop just to show off. It looks like it takes I guess that's a full-size power supply. Yeah, compared to the GP, it looks like a full ATX power supply.
Yeah, it's probably
Why
a
are they
short one,
routing?
but it's still a full size.
Yeah.
That wire routing is just fantastic.
Yes.
I'd love to see those.
It's totally not a render. This is definitely how it happened. Yeah.
Well,
No, look at the curve.
I know they had
curve
another
going up.
post about what they
Well,
did.
maybe.
Here it is. We
See,
originally
now that looks real.
They said they sketched the design out in 2019. They only recently revisited it, and they made a massive custom punch and die to form the 4-inch radius bends. It's hard to describe what this looks like. It's two pieces of metal, and they are kind of
it's a pair of
opposite
an
each other.
abbreviated J's.
Yeah,
that are sort of
exactly.
back.
Yes.
Yeah, Siamesed and back to back.
So, no, it's not on the market. No idea how much the price is. I just saw it today and thought that is pretty interesting.
If it's really heavy, it might almost be kid-proof,
Yeah, the metal looks thick.
like to a bit.
Now,
Now,
for
why
the
aren't
audio
there
listeners,
heat tubes in
where do we
metal?
go to see this? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Just Twitter.
Twitter,
Yule
Yule.
Beasts Designs.
But I want heat tubes in that.
Oh, okay.
in the
So
middle.
you want it to be a fanless friendly.
Nah, I just they're not even connected to anything. I just want them to say that it's got super pipes.
Like
Super
hot
pipes.
rods, like put the exhaust on the
There you go.
Off to the side, exhaust pipes.
All right. Quick hits games. This is Halo Infinite benchmark test and performance review at Tech Power Up. They're using a 5800X. I approve. I used one of those for a long time for game testing. Now I disapprove. Well, I guess so. Okay, they have their Infinity Fabric running at 2000 megahertz. So they're running 4000 megahertz.
Yeah.
Oh,
I still haven't tried that. I'm kind of curious to see what happens.
4,000. It's 4,000 megatransfers. Cas 19. And, okay. So, graphics memory usage. Now, allocation versus usage is a somewhat controversial topic, but I will accept that this is actual usage. At 4K, the 6900 XT is using 9 gigabytes, and a 3090 is using just under 8. Again,
Interesting.
allocation versus actual usage. Halo Infinite GPU performance, 1080 max. There's not really a control here. The bottom of the barrel is, of course, the 5500 XT 4 gigabyte, which is producing 19 frames per second.
Yeah, but the most popular card ever, the 1066, what I'm saying is the 1066 gigabyte.
Right, 26.5.
Yep,
So,
not stellar.
No, and we're talking 1080 max. So this is not, we're not talking 4K here. If you had a GTX 1080 8 gigabyte card, you're only getting 40 frames per second on average at 1080 max. So this is a pretty demanding game. A 1080 Ti is still well below 60. You're at 47.3. That's
interesting. It's below 50 FPS on a 1080 Ti. At 1080, the 1080p people.
An RTX 3060, which you wouldn't think is really that much faster than a 1080 Ti, manages 60 frames per second.
Like, I'm going to go out on a limb here and suggest that Halo isn't necessarily making this for future graphics cards and just didn't really port it well.
Are you questioning their optimization?
I might indeed be doing that. Yeah. Especially in the hallway sections where, I mean, seriously, what the hell are you showing?
So where would you at the current optimization level, where would you peg the minimum for legitimate play at 1080p on this?
Holy crap. I should get it. My 6800 XT is going to kick ass.
I feel like 60 is what we're actually going for.
Right.
So I guess we're looking at 60, but I mean, you can't buy 30,
and that's which anyway. And a 2070 8 gig is in there too with a 3060.
This game seems to favor AMD because if you have a 5700 XT, you're getting 63.8 on average, and even the lowly 6600.
Yeah,
so there's something going on here. Driver optimization obviously plays a role here.
Clearly. I remember your tests originally showed a 5700 XT was quite similar to a 1080 Ti, so I'm a little bit surprised by that.
Generally speaking, yeah, across the board, DirectX 11 anyway, or DirectX 12, just like basic raster games, they're about the same. But here we had seen, there was an article, I think last week or the week before, we talked about AMD driver update that gave like a 16 to 18% performance boost in this game. So clearly they have done something. We've seen titles like this before, like Dirt 5, where AMD graphics cards just have a huge advantage. At 1440 max details, let's see. The 6600 is at 46.6, 5700 XT is at 49.4. If you get, let's see, where is the 3060? Only at 44.8. The first card that hits 60 is an RTX 3070. So... And let's just talk. Let's see 4K. What's the first card that gets you to 60 frames per second at 4K? The 6800.
I'm telling you, my 6800 XT is kicking ass.
Yeah, you can tell the optimization because the 6800 XT is beating an RTX 3090.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
Good for Team Red.
Yeah, good for them. It seems odd. It almost looks like there's something wrong with the testing, but I'm telling, like the performance boost that AMD is getting just with their last 2 driver updates is pretty significant in that game.
Yep.
Well, Intel gets an operating system. AMD gets a franchise for frat boys.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, I like Halo.
You do?
I do.
I played one of them and then tried to play a second one, and I was literally like, holy shit, this is the same corridor I got sick of in the last game and stopped playing.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Well, if you're tired of the old, how about something new? A new game engine. Infusion from Bohemia Interactive.
Yeah.
What's next gen about this?
This is actually and they're doing it cross-platform.
Good.
So they're swearing it's going to work on PlayStation and Xbox, which is weird because I don't really want to try and give compass radiance to a PlayStation player. I mean, that might be slightly mean, but if you've played Arma 3, you kind of know what I mean here. But yeah, this, and for anyone hoping, no, this is not an Arma 4 announcement at all. It's just they've got a new engine. They sort of teased it in DayZ. They did a little bit of the rendering and some variety of other things, but for anyone who love DayZ or the Arma series, that means that yes, mods are still a huge priority. They realize that is part of their bread and butter, along with, getting the bullet fall over a long trajectory and how much penetration it still has through hard surfaces. Absolutely and totally correct. It's gorgeous. I mean, this is an engine known for bee shadows. They're literally, if you're on asphalt and there's bees flying around, you can see the shadows. They do a wonderful little zoom in from really far away, and so you see just how detailed they've still kept this engine. It's going to be interesting to see, what this goes into, because I'd love to see this engine a little bit more broadly accepted. It's usually when it comes out, it is the crisis of the time. Arma 3 absolutely crushed video cards for quite a while. It's also devoted to a whole bunch of people that really do like military role playing, to the point where, if you're not following proper coordinate on map, well, you're going to be totally lost. And if you don't know how to read a map with elevation lines, well, you're going to end up in a hole and wonder how the hell you got there. But it's really nice to see that they're still doing this and they're still getting the money to do it. And I really hope that it's going to get a little more acceptance in a lot of games, because you guys do a hell of a lot of work that some people ignore. But I'm one of the ones that realizes suddenly, I haven't replayed Arma 3 with my new video card. I need to do that.
There are, of course, sales going on right now. Steam has stuff. They keep on sending me emails. It looks like somebody linked to GOG doing the same thing.
I hit this one because it was just, Bethesda made some great games. They did. In my opinion, they did. What I was impressed at is, they took all the way back to Fallout. If you click on Fallout right there in the bottom right, you scroll down, Fallout 2 or Fallout. What I was really impressed at is the people at GOG. I'll wait for this to render. Are you okay with that? Okay. Look at what it's compatible with. This is impressive considering just how old this game is.
Everything.
Windows 7, 8, 10, and 11. The wizards' work at GOG, or whoever they have doing this, is extremely impressive. So you can play all of Bethesda's probably pretty good back catalog for just a few dollars. It's going to get you an excellent amount of playtime and really good gameplay out of some excellent old franchises if you're into it. And it's going to be compatible all the way up to Windows 11. If you'd have said that you could have installed original Fallout on Windows 11, I couldn't have imagined the amount of hacks and hand tooling that would have taken. And here they've got it down to just click install. And that's impressive on its own. But if you go back and look, there's plenty of other games that in Bethesda's catalog.
This is the Bethesda sale.
It is, but there's more. But I just zeroed in on this one because I was sort of impressed by it.
That Fallout version is apparently not the DOS version. It's the Windows version.
Well, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, somebody just commented that $20. If you put $20 down on the counter at GOG, you could probably have a good time, at least through 2022.
Easily.
2022. Yeah.
Endless Dungeon is essentially nothing right now. The Fallout series, before they became first-person shooters, because I realize that there are audience members here that they don't really understand why the Matrix has green text flowing. So I've got to remind them that Fallout used to be a lot nastier than it was, and I believe that GOG does the nasty UK version of Fallout.
Oh. Well, they have also some of the Fallout extended editions, Ultimate, Gold Master.
Tactics.
Yeah, they even have that one, which I didn't hear was very good. But
It was amusing.
they tend to kind of really pack the games full of all the available DLC for, right now is a really good time to buy. $10 will get you some pretty good gameplay if you've never played it.
Cheaper
So
than
take a
that.
look.
Cheaper than that. If you go to the Epic Game Store, they've made so much money on Final Fantasy VII. They can give away Mutant
Year Zero.
Mutant Year Zero, Road to Eden.
Free.
I've played this. I like it. If you like
I kept meaning to
XCOM,
pick it up.
if you like the XCOM style of combat, that's this. But it's a little bit lighter fare. The story's not quite as long.
Well,
It's got
the
a
sale
few.
the sale only lasts till tomorrow, so people are probably not going
Okay.
to be able to get it.
Probably not. But it's a good game. The graphics are very good. The storyline is pretty good. I think people could get a few hours of enjoyment out of that one, especially for free.
I like how 75%, the Steam, of course, has a winter sale on right now. 75% of those titles out of the top 1,000 work on Linux now.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty impressive considering that, say, about 3 years ago, the only thing they could do was scream and yell about how the Linux port didn't work as it should
now we have Proton.
on anything. And now, well, Proton and Steam's put some work into it, and AMD has decided that, maybe they're going to be a little bit more. They're going to honor what they were going to say that they did a couple of years back significantly more. NVIDIA's doing it as well. So yeah, it's becoming a much more embracing.
Well, we've reached that time. I know Josh isn't here and he usually starts the segment off, but it doesn't feel like Picks of the Week without him, but we're going to carry on anyway.
Yeah.
Jeremy, you're the senior representative. Well, I mean, you were even when Josh was here, but you can go first.
If you want the thing that's most impacted me in my life for the last 2 weeks, yeah, that's my anti-pick. My brother and a couple of other people that I know have realized that this is actually a good time to get into 3D printing because, you know what? 3D printers are in stock. They don't actually suffer from a lot of the supply shortages that everything else seems to. A bunch of people are having sales on. And so if this is the time where you're like, well, shit, I'm stuck inside, I can't do anything at all, I can't buy new computer equipment, but hey, 3D printers are on sale. OC Inside put out an interesting little 3D printer optimization guide. It's sort of targeted towards the printer that they played with, but everything is applicable to anything else. So they go from, my God, this printer is really freaking loud. I was like, yeah, your cooling fan is this annoying equivalent to an old Alpha 40. Noctua sells fans that fit into these, and they work significantly better and are whisper quiet. They talk about insulating your heat bed, even hooking things up to Wi-Fi, as opposed to having to run a network cord from your router all the way around this corner and into the kitchen and into the place where you're allowed to play with your 3D printer. So it's not a bad guide for just sort of generally overall looking at the sort of things you can do. Because if you end up in one of the forums, they can be a little bit, well, why haven't you already tried this? Or why haven't you done this? And like, the answer is, well, I literally have no idea what I'm doing. This is a good place to start. It gives you a little bit of the references on the lingo, on what it is that actually makes it better, as opposed to what the guy is trying to upsell you for. And so, yeah, take a look at it if you're one of those people that's getting or buying a 3D printer for someone this Christmas.
Brett, your turn.
This time of year, I think a lot of people come out and they try and say, this is an important part of a nonprofit or organization, or a save the whales, or keep dogs out of the pound, adopt a pet kind of thing. I have my own society that I would like to say, please support them. And it's near and dear to me, and it is the Manual Gearbox Preservation Society. Please, save the manuals, people. If we could just pledge our support to the Manual Gearbox. That would be wonderful. Now, the Manual Gearbox Society does have a swag shop, and the second link that I put down there was for the swag shop. Wear your support for the Manual Gearbox out there, people. Show that you still will buy them and you love them. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Brett. I just wish
You're
it didn't cost so much extra now.
No, it's cheaper. Here's
No,
the
they charge
Manual
extra.
Gearbox. Here's
Okay,
a
Brett lives in the world of everything's a Volkswagen, so he actually does think that it's cheaper to buy the car with the manual transmission, but often the cars that are offered with a manual are like sportier cars that cost more money.
That is true. You're right about that.
Well, no, I was more talking about the manual transmission option on general car. Like, that's how I keep getting upsold or up rented, I guess, every time I have to rent a car.
Oh, really?
I check the box, manual transmission preferred. And so they end up saying, well, sorry, we don't have that, but here's a Chrysler S3. Ooh, oh my. See, I didn't need that $300 speeding ticket, but it was a lot of fun.
Please, people,
Nice.
save the Manual Gearbox.
My pick is
Sebastian,
yeah.
give us some monkey business here.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, please.
I hesitated to pick this because you can't buy it. This is a limited run games release of the Monkey Island anthology. So it's everything Monkey Island, all 5 of the games, the 4 original games, and then the newer Tales game. And then a bunch of really interesting extras. They had an initial mock-up of what it was going to include. It changed over time. Originally, this was going to be put on sale on October 30th of 2020. It was revised. The price went up a little bit, and then it was actually put up on sale on December 4th of last year. My wife actually bought this for me. And then it's like, well, we got it, but it was, another year later. It just showed up like 2 days ago on the front step. UPS dropped this off. So about 14 months after it was announced, I got the Limited Run Games Monkey Island Anthology box, which has like statues and a book and a shadow box and all the games on DVD-ROM and USB thumb drive, and it even includes a disc 22. Now, I've not actually, it's a real floppy. I haven't put it in anything to see if there's anything on it. Could just be a blank floppy, but and an autograph from Ron Gilbert, the designer of the game. I was very impressed with the code wheels. They've actually reproduced the original code wheels.
They just mentioned that in the YouTube chat about the code wheel.
Yeah, I was like, I cannot believe they actually, and they're riveted in the middle, and the colors are correct, and it's just I did an unboxing of this, and I compared it to my original copy of The Secret of Monkey Island, and it's pretty incredible how faithful they were. And you get a nice print of each game cover, so I can put those in I think it's an 8x10 size. I can frame those and put them behind me. But I actually have the box here.
Wow. Impressive.
I packaged it all back up after I did the unboxing.
Yeah,
video.
but it's open, so it's worthless now.
No, no, it's not, because this is out of print. There were 7,000 made, and of course it's sold out.
Oh, wow.
Run games.
What are they running on YouTube now?
On eBay?
eBay. Sorry.
Between 400 and 500.
Wow. Yeah, don't sell. You keep yours.
Not bad.
Keep it.
So yeah, it was $174.99 when my wife bought it for me.
Yeah. That's a bit better than a Beanie Baby or an NFT.
Yeah, I have the NFT of this.
Stedman in the YouTube chat, I ripped mine apart to photocopy. Yes, that's the thing. If you see them on eBay and they have like a paper, like one of those paperclip things holding them together, those are the ones that got taken apart to be photocopied, so you could give out, because back then the copy protection was the code wheel. So
yeah, I remember stuff like that.
Yeah, they were.
And, I mean, so much better than the Bard's Tale remake that they made you redo the damn thing. Oh no, you have to print this out on your own, and then get a thing in the middle. And surprise, it doesn't work out quite as well as it does when they're professionally made.
Yeah,
but hey, still code wheel.
I mean,
Nice to see you had it within arm's reach.
I have the original game here from when I was doing the unboxing, and this comes with, of course, the code wheel. That's how they did the copy protection. Is the Dial a Pirate wheel.
There, so much better.
And as you can see, it's got a rivet in it holding it together. So you would match up the head, like say it was an eye patch with a skull at the bottom, like this guy. And then it would ask you something about a date from Nebraska. And if it was lined up like that, like, oh, now the answer is, 1500 and whatever. Like, it would be just sort of randomly generated, so you couldn't, write it down.
Yeah.
So you'd have to take this apart, copy it, and create your own. Anyway, very
So the colors on
impressive.
the new one was faithful to your original.
Yeah, everything is very, very close. The Dial Pirate wheel was the exact correct size, and I didn't even realize this. It came with the wheel from the first and second game, so it's more complete than I thought it was. It even has a Ask Me About Loom button, which I appreciated.
Oh, nice.
That's my Halloween costume.
That was a
next
great
year.
game.
That's our show. Thanks for
Yep.
listening and or watching. We will see you guys next year. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Oh,
Can't
you're
be
zoomed
worse,
in right
right?
now, just to you.
Oh, crap. All right, let's redo the end.
No, it's
Sorry.
perfect.
I forgot
No, that was perfect.
forgot to hit the button. That's our show. Thanks for listening and or watching. Happy holidays. We will talk to
Happy
you guys
holidays.
next year.